Wow, that went fast, didn't it? There was so much to discuss.
Correct.
There was so much to discuss. Does group number 1 want to start by sharing what their?
Okay. All right. We only got to questions 1 and 2. We didn't get to 3. So as far as active listening, question number 1, we did talk about the importance of it because especially between children and parents, or actually just peers too, it's important to listen actively, to acknowledge that you hear the other person and that you recognize that the other person has a point of view possibly differing from yours. We talked a little bit about active listening with adult children because they have become, your adult children very often are now your equals. They're as smart as you are, if not smarter. So it's really quite important to listen calmly, and it would be really quite important in a family discussion with adult children or other adults to designate a peacekeeper. It's important to listen without judging, and in that way we could build trust. Sometimes there's just difficulty with parents who don't listen. And so sometimes it's really good to establish a little code word. So when people are not listening or when they're interrupting each other, you can say something like, "Excuse me, I'm speaking." And then it happens that Bonnie has a t-shirt actually that says, "I'm speaking," and this is attributed to Kamala Harris, and we use that in our household too. When I'm interrupted, that's what I would say to my husband. If I interrupt him, he says that to me, and we kind of laugh about it. It's a good reminder. As far as listening within FCBC, we need to, maybe a real good technique is to establish ground rules before we have a controversial topic in discussion, establish objectives, and determine what the outcome of the discussion would be. Listening does create a common bond. It creates bridge building, mutual respect, and okay, and one more thing is that it would be good to establish within a discussion, especially controversial discussion, to establish a third person or third party person, a peacemaker or a referee to help the discussion along. Okay, anything else? Group 1?
Shirlene, we didn't get too far because we're busy listening to one another.
Guys, it's 10:59, so sorry, we have a 3-minute close, and then but we do want to hear from you. But I just wanted to give you the time. So whoever the next group, 2.
Which one was group 2?
Did group 2 leave? Let's see if I have.
Let me just jump in very quickly. I think we're running out of time. We kind of matched second question in with the third question and talked about the active listening and brought in the cultural element in active listening. A lot of what we're talking about are really Western concepts. For instance, Stephen Covey always pushed seeking to understand first before being understood, and sometimes if we're trying to get the other party to state their position, and sometimes I think through the cultural element to it, you don't always get that transparency. Sometimes you get the PC version of what they want to say, or sometimes the true feelings are hidden just because of
Hay là dùng nhúc
fact
vậy.
that we are Asians and Asians have these characteristics. We move quickly on to about the creative resistance strategies, and one concept was to create a safe forum for them to share. One very interesting, Becky brought this up actually, about expressing ourselves through prayer. There's a certain amount of transparency there versus an open forum. And that, and sometimes that carries a greater element of truth because it's coming from the spirit. So rather than just have a full-on business meeting, Western style, where sometimes you may not even talk the truth, but doing it through prayer may be the way to do it. We probably had a lot more other things dominate the discussion, and that's it for group 2.
Joy, Melanie, Rosalie, Cheryl, or Wes? Gina, John?
Well, our group got basically talking about question number 2, but I think because of interest in time, I thought the most interesting thing that we talked about is what Don Ing said. I don't know if the rest of the group agrees to that question or topic, or what Don Ing had said about his, he's been on this, he's part of this anti-race task force, but he, about racism, and he just shared about yeah, that I guess at SCBC about the I guess probably the issue that we have is a systemic as well as a structural issue. And so I don't know if Don wants to share about what you had said, because I thought, I never thought about that way, what you said in terms of why at church that we still have this issue of not really connecting with the Cantonese speaking congregation, and what your idea is as maybe why we still have this issue. And when we talk about efforts to try to spend time with the Cantonese speaking congregation and getting to know each other, but it still seems to be some kind of underlying issue that still remains.
Earl, you did a good job stating it. My main point is that in as much as racism in America still persists, what kind of application that we can use in understanding how we can be anti-racist to also explore systemically and structurally in our church how we are not able to reach a greater understanding of each other, because I believe that that there are things that have been built into our system and into our structures that cause people to feel like they are either part of the system or outside of the system, which then causes disagreements and problems. But thank you.
Barbara, did you want to?
Yeah, so I guess, this is really a topic that deserves so much more time, but I don't know. I think this is something we could discuss on our own, or I don't know. But goodness, there's a lot to learn here. And I think if we approach it with the attitude that by working on this challenge that we have within our church, it will help us to learn how to communicate with the outside world too, and vice versa. And even working on this challenge within our families, right? How do we listen? How do we resolve conflicts? There is so much to that. But I think mainly to keep it from coming from the spirit, letting God be our guide on how we do these things. There's so much we can do. Okay, so did you want me to do a closing prayer and then do the song, or should we just do the topic? Let's
think
do the
if
song.
you want to close with prayer, or I think we can close with the song. You make the decision.
Why don't we close with the song?
Okay, thanks, Barb. Oopsie. Did it not? What happened? Okay. Sorry.
Make me a channel of your peace. There is hate that let me bring along. Or is injury your pardon, Lord? Some truth faith you. Trust to grant that I may never see. So much to be consoled as to console. Understood as you understand. To be
I'll commit some. Yeah.
a channel of your peace. There is darkness, only light. Where the sadness of the Master, grant that I may never see. So much to be consoled as to console. Understood as you understand. To be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. Is in pardoning that we are pardoned. Giving of ourselves that we receive. And implying that we're born to eternal life.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Victor and Melanie, for reading. Thank you all for joining.
Thank
Go
you.
in
Barbara.
peace. See you at service.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Barbara.
Barbara. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you,
Thank you,
George.
Wendy. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you,
Joy.
Barb.